would like to welcome everyone here and thank you all for joining us today for a memorial for David. If you're here, it's because David Keith Lynch touched your life in some way. Whether you were close personal friends, collaborators, work pals, family, or you just really admired him as a fan, he touched you in your life in a way that brought you here to honor him today. And I just want to thank you because I think all of us coming together will be a really healing journey, which of course David was all about, because David was true to himself. He was all about the art life, and the art life was about his truth, and his truth resonated with all of us and made all of our lives better. So welcome. I hope this whole weekend is just an amazing and healing journey for everyone. And to start us off for this memorial, we are going to do, in honor of David and his dedication to Transcendental meditation, I have brought Annie Skipper, who has been teaching Transcendental meditation since 1971. And you know David for a long time, right? Yeah. So please welcome Annie.
Such an honor to celebrate everything David and his art, his spiritual values, his love, and the good he brought to the world. So my connection with him was through Transcendental meditation technique, and today we're going to start the session with a meditation. Okay, is that better? We'll do a 10-minute meditation. David had a really profound understanding of TM and the development of consciousness and the impact it can have on world peace. So we'll do 10 minutes of meditation, do any kind of meditation. If you don't know Transcendental meditation, do what you know, or just sit quietly with the eyes closed. And in 10 minutes, I'm going to say Jai Gurudev, which is one of David's favorite expressions, and it's an honorific to honor the teachers of this tradition that have given us the knowledge of the integration of inner and outer life. So let's have a seat, get comfortable, and we can begin. Let's open the eyes.
This is a great turnout. It's good to see everybody here today. My name is John Thorne, and I've been writing about and studying the works of David Lynch for over 30 years. A friend of mine in Dallas went to see a screening of Eraserhead a couple weeks ago, and he got the last ticket when he went into the theater. The showing was completely sold out. And I saw online somebody say they went to see Mulholland Drive at a theater somewhere in Chicago, I think. And the screening was completely sold out. And it struck me that, these films are available online. We've got them at home on home video. But people want to gather together and watch these films and be, I think, with a group, not only to mourn David Lynch, but to celebrate the art that he gave us. I think that's really important, and it's incredible to see how many people are here. I've been coming up to Snoqualmie for 30 years. It's such a beautiful area, and I think this is really one of the great places to be together right now to remember David Lynch.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you in the back. Can you only hear what you're saying?
Sure, of course. Can you hear me now? A little better? Is this thing working? It's better now?
Thank you.
Great. I had something else I was going to say. Lost my train of thought.
30 years coming to Snoqualmie.
30 years coming to Snoqualmie. Well, like I said, I think this is a great place to be for all of us to celebrate the work of David Lynch. A lot of artists have impacted me over my life. Musicians, singers, actors, but no artist has literally changed the course of my life like David Lynch. I wouldn't be standing here now if it weren't for him. And it's my privilege and my honor to be here to talk to you and to celebrate David Lynch. And I think hopefully over this weekend, we'll all share a smile together, maybe shed a little bit of a tear together, but I'm glad we're all together. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephen Miller from Florida. Looks I'm the only one here. Okay. I run TwinPeaksBlog.com. Some of you may have seen the site. I've been running it since 2018. And it's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and many that I don't know. And when I think about my experience with David's work, I was the early 90s, and really there was only two ways to connect with people that enjoyed Twin Peaks as much as I did. John Thorne's Wrapped in Plastic, the magazine, which I couldn't get enough of. Every single issue wrote letters to John and Craig, and they were very kind in publishing my obsessions back then. And then the Twin Peaks Fan Festival. And I came up here for the very first time in 1996. And for the first time, I met other people who were as wild as I am, in terms of this. And I think David said it best, Twin Peaks people are party people, right? But without a beat, people I didn't even know at all. Even in this room right now, there are people I don't know, but you accept me for who I am. And I think if I look back at David's work, he was all about acceptance, drawing people in. I mean, look around the room. There's literally people here from all over that have been drawn here, kind of like Devil's Tower without the mashed potatoes, I guess. But I think that acceptance has been such a common beat through my experience with this, that if you have a view about what Twin Peaks means to you, great. If you have a view what Blue Velvet means to you, awesome. Doesn't mean that I'm right, you're right, we're all right, and it's that kind of acceptance and welcome feeling that I think David would truly appreciate today, and something that I hope that we'll carry forth in his legacy for years to come. So if you don't know somebody here this weekend, say hello. Introduce yourself. You're going to find you're probably going to have a lot more in common than you realize, all because of this man. We are a whole damn town, and I'm glad to be among you this weekend. Thank you.
Hello. This is a reading from one of David's favorite books. We are not here to do what has already been done. The work is done when that special thing has been said. From The Art Spirit by Robert Henry.
Good morning. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and also see so many new faces. My name is Carl Reinsch. I write the Twin Peaks Day proclamations for the cities of Snoqualmie, Carnation, North Bend, and for King County. And I'm going to use some of my own words today, and I'm going to borrow some words. When Mary asked me to say some words, I thought, what would I write? What would I say? And I realized I already had to write something. When you ask a city to do a proclamation, you have the best luck if you give them a sample text. Say, if the mayor could say this, it makes it easier. And you do that in advance of when you need it. So in late January, I emailed the executive for our county, and 3 different mayors, and I had to send them the proclamation text. And I talked with friends, and Mary, and Stephen, and John, and said, should I put something in here about David? About him passing? And it's this is a little bit of a game. The proclamations every year, I say, can I get one of these mayors to say damn fine coffee? And I got one. It's the former mayor of North Bend. Most of them, they just say good coffee or fine coffee. And I thought, I'm gonna add a clause in here about David's passing. Can I sneak something else in? And if you're familiar with David's Twitter feed, the bio he had in Twitter is very simple. Born Missoula, Montana, Eagle Scout. And I bounced it off Stephen, and I thought, I'm gonna try to get away with this. And so I had 3 different mayors and a council member read the proclamations in front of a group in the past 2 weeks that included the text, whereas David Keith Lynch, director and Eagle Scout, born in Missoula, Montana. And I went, yeah, got it. So I figured he would appreciate that. It got read, it got videoed, it's in the text of all 4 proclamations. I was pleased that they all did that. What else I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna borrow someone else's words. Those were my words. I'll borrow someone else's words. And I'm gonna read to you from Mark Frost's The Final Dossier. If you haven't read it, or if you have read it, you may remember there is a section where the log lady had left a note for Hawk that he reads at her memorial service. And we'll see if I can get through it. Deputy Hawk was the last to speak, and he read from a page that he said Margaret had given him the day before she passed. He sent this on to me, and I include the text here. Every meeting between friends must end with a parting. And so, my friends, today we take our leave. This is life. None of us profits from ignoring or hiding from the facts. So why should we bother? Life is what it is. A gift that is given to us for a time, like a library book, that must eventually be returned. How should we treat this book if we are able to remember that it is not ours to begin with, one that we are entrusted with to care for, to study, to learn from? Perhaps it would change the way we treat it while it's in our possession. How do you treat a precious gift from a dear friend? That is a good question to ask, and today is a good time to ask it. Such busy minds we have you noticed? We think, and we think until we twist ourselves into the ground like a flathead screw. My log has this to say: the answers to all our questions are in the wind and the trees, the rocks and the water. No one is helpless, no one is beyond helping. It is good to seek out those who need us and do what we can for them. I recommend that. There's nothing that can't be done if we set our minds to doing it. Don't be sad. Be happy you have another day to do what needs doing. We only have so many of them. We are born into this world, not another one. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. This world presents some simple, certain truths. It helps us grow if we accept them, but many of these truths seem to trouble or frighten us. For instance, there is no light without darkness, and this troubles many of us. But without it, how else would we tell one from the other? We spend half of every day in darkness. Surely we should make our peace with this. You may decide to see this as a metaphor. Many people do. I see it as fact. Metaphors are beautiful ways of speaking about the truth, so are facts. Both tell us that time and light and darkness move in cycles. We move through them too, often as passengers, but if our eyes are open, there is much to be learned along the way. A traveler learns more than a passenger. When darkness comes, a traveler learns to be brave, for they know the light will return. Anyone who spent a night alone in the woods learns this. When a dark age comes, hold the light inside. That's where it lives anyway. There are forces of darkness and beings of darkness, and they are real and have always been around us. They're part of the dance, just as you and I are. They're just listening to different music. This may be the most troubling truth we will ever know. Many of us live most of our lives and brush up against this really only rarely. It is far from pleasant, but wishing it were otherwise will not make it so. So may I offer a suggestion when a dark age comes, just as you would at night, hold the light inside of you. Others can tell you have already learned to do this. Others, I can tell you, have already learned to do the same. In time, you will learn to recognize the light in yourself and in others. In this way, you will find each other. Together, you will make the light stronger. This truth I know as sure as the dawn. Darkness will always yield to the light when the light is strong.
Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Green. I met David Lynch over 50 years ago. I was introduced to David and Catherine and Jack Nance by Donna Dubain. If anybody here has ever seen the movie David Lynch Presents I Don't Know Jack, Donna was the producer of that, and she's in it. She was also a founding member of the Groundlings. I'm sure everybody here knows the Groundlings. I have two quick songs that I'd like to play. The first one was written for Donna, who died about 6 or 8 weeks ago. Anybody feel like being in a microphone stand so they could hold the microphone here? Would you like to be a microphone? You look like much too pretty for a microphone stand. Come on up here. Okay, thank you. Just if you can stand, maybe so I want to get right there so you can hear this lyric. This was written for Donna, and with the exception of one verse that's about groundlings, I think it plays also to David. I do think about both of them when I play it. So I'm a piano player. This is a simple guitar version of it. When I think of you, you're smiling, and I find that I am smiling too. When I think of you, you're laughing, and the house is laughing loud with you. With each show you do. When I think of me and how sad I feel, how your family is gonna need some time to heal. I know they know wherever life goes, your love and faith in them is real. When I think of you, you're dancing. When I think of you, you're dancing, and I'm the friend who shared your last dance. We twirled in your improv world. When I think of you, it's love, and all the folks we knew who love you too. Just what you do. When I think of me and how lucky I've been to know you for so long, to be there at the end, to see you inspire your family and friends who saw you fall and out of love stand up again. When I think of you, you're smiling, and I find that I am smiling too. Thank you. I watched Twin Peaks in the 90s like everybody else. The first season had me at parties watching Twin Peaks, and the second season had me shaking my head like everybody else. And I got involved in this world, although I was invited because of, I don't know, Jack and Mulholland Drive, where I played the magician for David. I was invited up to, I think, a 2002 or 2003 festival. If you come on Sunday night, there's a sneak peek at the North Bend, and they're going to play a little clip of the introduction that I did for Julie Cruz back at that festival, and that's a pretty cool clip. But that was the extent of my involvement until Jack Nance died, and I ran into David, and we talked, and eventually a year later when we were making I Don't Know Jack, David asked me to do this part in Mulholland Drive. And what happened to me in Mulholland Drive is on a late afternoon, I was given a 7-page script and had to turn it into English and Spanish, and it was crazy. And on Monday, and I arrived, and we're in this big theater, and Naomi Watts and Laura Herring are up on the top, and I'm doing this thing, and I got 21 pages because I translated it for David. And I said, would you like to see the kind of shorter version? And I performed this in that theater, and the single best audience I've ever had in my life was David Lynch. When he was there with me. He knew what I did. He got it all. He looked me in the eye. He said, "Aces, Richard," and we shot it a couple of times. Rebecca Del Rio, who is here and was there, will tell you about this extraordinary experience. Of course, I had the extraordinary experience of then a few minutes later listening to that vocal played in that theater for the first time. It was just amazing. Rebecca Del Rio is an amazing human being. When we decided to do I Know Catherine the Log Lady, the feature film, the first thing I did was interview David. And that interview, which you'll see in the movie when it comes out, and I understand there's a sneak peek going on somewhere on Sunday. I can't address that. You'll see it was exactly what he gave me as an audience. I gave him that day to talk about his friend Catherine. It's a moving interview. This is a song from the film. In the film, you'll hear a duet between me and Rebecca Del Rio, an honor to sing with her. And this is just a slight guitar version of that song. And again, if I talk to you now that you're gone, how will I know that you're here? And if you talk to me, is it really you? Or imagination whispering in my ear? I used to ring out my worries, you hardly said a word. I knew you understood, taught me to listen to my heart and keep my own counsel, take my own advice if it's good. I didn't know I'd miss you so. Oh, for the chance to be heard like I was. Wish you could come back and stay here from the other side, but nobody does. So I'm gonna talk to you now that you're gone. I remember the things that you said, so maybe it won't really matter whether you respond or our conversation's only in my head. If I can't hear you in my heart, that'll be a start. At least I'll know how I feel. If I can hear you in my heart, then I'll have what to go on. And I won't have to go on without you. Thank you, David. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vinny Gadara. You might have seen something I've written on Twin Peaks blog or Instagram under the name 12 Rainbow Trout. I'm going to share a little bit about what David Lynch meant to me. Something I wrote a couple hours after the news broke and I had time to gather some thoughts. I was introduced to David Lynch's filmography in college, and it clicked instantly. There are a few moments in your life when you just know your perspective has changed forever. and seeing Mulholland Drive was one of those moments for me. I worked at a record store and a video store at that time, and after seeing that movie, I went into work and bought every David Lynch release we had in stock. And I special ordered anything we didn't have in stock. I don't make films, but I do make art, and this was a revelation of a new level of feeling that art could evoke. I knew I'd be chasing that feeling forever. Years later, I spent one of the best weekends of my life here in the Snoqualmie Valley. I was with a group of friends that I had met through a mutual love of Twin Peaks. We had all traveled from around the country on a moment's notice because our local friend, Mary, let us know that filming for the new season had begun. This body of work had resonated with each of us to the extent that we'd make some pretty impractical decisions if it meant we'd get to watch David Lynch work, and we did. In the early morning of September 18th, 2015, I took a photo of David standing in the street outside of Tweed's Cafe. He was directing the final scenes that would be filmed at the Double R Diner. We didn't know it at the time, but the crew would be packing up the set decorations and moving on by the time we woke up the next morning. After wrapping that night, David stood in the parking lot and admired his surroundings. The neon sign, the mountain in the distance, the traffic light. My friends and I approached to say hello and thank him for his work. I may have stopped breathing for a brief moment. David was gracious. My enduring memory from that moment is how serene and present he seemed, despite being 70 years old and working on his feet until 2 a.m. It's been almost a decade since that experience, and even longer since I went down the rabbit hole. And I still think about his body of work every day. I still try to achieve a sense of space and leave something in the periphery of every piece of art I make. I still talk to the friends that I've made through this silly little TV show every day, whether it's about Twin Peaks or not. Because of David Lynch, I've met my partner, I've traveled all over the country, I've made friends from around the world, I've connected with other artists who help bring some of my favorite media to life. There's a consistent theme in David Lynch's work where things look beautiful on the surface, but there's ugliness crawling underneath. But my experience with his work is the opposite. The art itself may be dark, but digging in has led to some of the brightest parts of my life. Thank you, David.
Hello, everybody. I have not prepared anything at all, so I'm just going to talk off the cuff. When I was a kid, I discovered the works of David Lynch, and my life has never been the same. I don't know where I would be if it were not for David Lynch, because I kind of calculated it, and I figured about 90% of the people I know, 90% of the people in my life, in some way, shape, and form I would not have known. David was just a one-of-a-kind person in every which way, truly authentic to himself and everything that he did. I always tell everybody, my favorite artist of all time in any medium, and he worked in every medium, every last medium he worked in. And I don't even know what more to say. It's a great loss to the world, but the legacy he left behind is amazing, absolutely amazing. The fact that, for me, personally, watching his work, it kind of told me that you can basically do art. You can do whatever it is that you want to do and do it your way and be true to yourself. And that's okay. You don't need to conform to anything. David's work, everything about him was just so open-minded. Everybody was accepted. And I was fortunate enough to be on the set of Mulholland Drive for 2 days. I was very young at the time and basically watched my favorite artist work, which was amazing. And I'll tell one little story here. A lot of people know that I do the Twin Peaks trivia game. Been doing it for a while. I'm sure some of you will be there today. And I'll take it easy on you, don't worry. Maybe. But when I was in there, we were sitting in Mr. Roque's office. They were filming the scene with Mr. Roque. And at one point, I don't remember exactly how it got around to it, but David Lynch turned to me and started asking me trivia questions on Twin Peaks. And it was quite an amazing experience. I'll tell you the questions he asked me. The first one I think a lot of you will get. And that is, what is the first line that Pete Martell says?
Gone fishing.
I heard gone fishing is a correct answer. The second question he asked is, what does Mike say in the European ending of the pilot? The first thing he says when Cooper walks in, and he said Mike, not Gerard. So immediately my mind goes, that was Mike. Okay, that was not Philip Gerard. This is the European ending, so obviously it's Mike. Philip Gerard doesn't exist. But does anybody know that one? Don't turn on the overheads. The fluorescents don't work. I think a transformer is bad. So that one surprised him a little bit, but that was a David Lynch story. And maybe flash forward another 10 years, I go to an art show in Santa Monica. And David is there. And he sees me again, and immediately, with the trivia. And this one was, who found the necklace at the end of the pilot? And of course I said Jacoby. And then he proceeds to tell me a story about finding the necklace when they filmed that scene where James and Donna bury the necklace in the pilot. And because David recounted it to me, I'll recount it to you. He said they were filming this, up by the mill. And he said that when they were filming that scene, it was freezing cold. A lot colder than it is now, even though it was around the same time of year. They started filming on February 21st. So they are filming the scene, and Debbie Trutnick, his assistant, went to go get hamburgers for everybody because it was a late night. And he said they came up the hill, and when they got to the top, the hamburgers were frozen solid. So that was the story he told me, and that's some of my experience with David Lynch. And then the other day, I was talking to somebody close with David, and I told that story to that person. And that person told me, you know why he did that? Because he saw you, and he knew how much it meant to you. He knew how much you loved it when he did that. And he did that to you because of how much you loved it. And that was David in a nutshell. Because he would see you, he would see who you are. And he would do something that, to make your day a little brighter. To make your life better. Something that he knew that you would carry with you, because that's who he was. And, we've lost an amazing person, an artist, but he lives on in every one of us, because everybody in this room has been touched, their lives have been touched, and he lives on in all of us. Thank you for having me, and yeah.
Hello again. My name is Anita Wren, and I am a longtime fan from the pilot, and actually from Elephant Man in high school on, and I'm going to read something I wrote because I won't be able to express it without reading. So I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude about something that I'm sure is extremely obvious to everyone here. David Lynch gave us countless extraordinary and timeless gifts. His legacy in the world of art and spirituality will continue to be priceless and limitless, but we are all gathered here this morning to celebrate David Lynch giving us what is to me the most important gift, each other. Everyone gathered here this morning lives together in our hearts in a fictional town in the great Northwest, a town that not just accepts the bizarre and confusing, but celebrates it. A community with a vast array of personalities, talents, contributions, and possibilities. We are friends and family that share a powerful connection because we see beauty in the darkness, humor in the absurd, love in tragedy, value in pain, and strength in sadness. We look at the world with childlike wonder and revel in extreme silliness, yet we can be dead serious and not turn away from the disturbing. We know that often there is magic in not completely understanding and satisfaction in keeping a mystery alive. We here are Twin Peaks, and we will continue to live here in this world, both wonderful and strange, that David Lynch helped create for us. Thank you to David Lynch, and thank you, all of you, for living here in my heart and being one of the best, most important things that has ever happened to me.
Can't follow that. I feel like David has always kind of been a part of the ether, you know, even when he was here with us, a part of him was here. And so I feel like he's still here with us, you know, and he always will be. He's in all of us. And thank you again, everyone, for coming this weekend and sharing. I just have to say, like, the feeling and the vibes in here is so amazing. And it's already healing. And I really just want to invite everyone to, throughout the weekend, find someone, one of your good friends, someone you haven't met before, and share your experiences, share your feelings. And I think only good things can come from that. And I think that's where we find the light, right? We find the light with each other. And we can thank David for that. So one day the sadness will end. And so tonight, right now, we are going to end with a special guest performing a song to take us into the weekend. Thank you again.
Silencio. Yo estaba bien por un tiempo, volviendo a sonreír. Luego anoche te vi, tu mano me tocó y el saludo de tu voz. Te hablé muy bien y tú, sin saber que he estado llorando por tu amor, llorando por tu amor. Luego de tu adiós sentí todo mi dolor, sola y llorando, llorando, llorando por tu amor. This is so beautiful. All of us together, thank you so much. Oh my God. I am so honored to be here with you this morning. And I thank you for having me, Mary, everyone here. Every word that was said this morning was exactly what I've been feeling. And David once told me that I get traction, Rebecca. I get traction. And this is definitely attraction. It's just the attraction of being with like minds and sharing. And thank you for loving David. And I love David so much. And it's a personal thing. You know, he loved my song, my version of it, and he put me in that beautiful movie, and it's just been a whirlwind ever since. Like Josh said, get to meet so many wonderful people. And that's, I think, one of the many things he liked to share, along with transcendental meditation and consciousness, right? So, with that in mind, I when we wrote No Stars with our beloved John Neff, who's with David, we had that consciousness. It was on the spot, and when I got to see it and the return, seeing beautiful Catherine Coulson, the log lady, she said these words: electricity is humming. You hear it in the mountains and the rivers. You see it dance among the seas and stars, glowing around the moon. But in these days, the glow is dying. What will become of the darkness that remains? My dream is to go to that place. You know the one right here, where it all began, on a starry night, on a starry night, where it all began. And it will keep beginning, and then it keeps going around and around, and it just never ends. And that's what we have with David, his beautiful work, his talent, his love for the art and for people, and the strange will never end. It's forever. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that, a very small part. And I wanted to tell you, I wrote a song for David, and it was a work in progress, and it happened over the course of many years. And I just wanted to tell him how much I loved him, and I want to tell you how much I love you in as many languages as I can remember. Thank you very much for having me. Je t'aime, Annuem, je t'adore. Alialis, alialis, gedei. Ich liebe dich, il ci voglio, molto bene, mahal kita, tiati biali blue, Stitteram, I love you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you again, everyone, for coming. Please feel free to stick around.